enjoyed talking with so many of you during the break and during lunch and getting to know you and following up on some of the questions. The meeting is wonderful. This is a self-care segment. And I really thought about what did I want to leave you with. I know you were here yesterday with the scientist. I started out my career as a molecular genetics major. It was really impersonal. Thank goodness I found the field of genetic counseling, because I don't think I would have lasted at the lab bench. I know yesterday had a lot of heavy information, scientific information that you had to digest. I thought the panel today was wonderful and put together really well, and I thank the 6 parents again for being there. What I'm going to say to you now is sort of what I want to send you off with. I know you've come from near and far, and you know, Effie runs her podcast, and you can go back and you can listen to it again and again. I want you to listen to what I say to you now and try to internalize some of that, as Michelle has given you some exercises to self-reflect and have care for the caregiver. Hopefully some of these words will stay with you. And when I usually speak at meetings, I have slides, and I don't read off of something. I sort of do an Oprah again, but so I don't have slides for this. So I did type this out, but you still have my attention, even if I have to look down and read it a little bit. So really pleased and honored to be here at this well-attended 2-day conference for families of children with 2 rare conditions, CT and NB1 and MED13L. I want to thank Rachel and Effie very much for inviting me to be a part of this. Hope in action, the theme for this 2-day conference you've just participated in. A title that was carefully chosen, focusing on 2 words that you are well familiar with. And just as I asked the panelists, what does hope mean to you? Hope. Whether it's hope for a cure, hope that your child will do as well as he or she can, or hope that you're able to juggle all that you are faced with in life, every challenge and every long day. Whether your child has CT and NB1 or MED13L, once you digested the initial information you were given about the clinical presentation and the underlying gene cause, perhaps you began thinking or hoping for a treatment or a cure. Actually, one of our parents said that today. They started out thinking, we have to find a cure, we have to do this, we have to do that, and then it changed. The hope changed from a cure to just having my child be happy. I've watched the progression in the field of genetics for nearly 4 decades. Scientists, molecular geneticists, are remarkable at discovering the gene, recognizing the effect on the protein, and ultimately, they hope to understand more about the protein and the function and create possible treatments. Not only do parents exhibit hope, but providers, counselors, physicians, and researchers as well. You are not alone in your hope. Action. The way you live your lives, coming here for these 2 days, joining a natural history study, being advocates, fundraisers, and volunteers. You take action. Getting here this week took action. It takes bravery to face the diagnosis and attend a conference such as this one. Some of you traveled very far to get here. Some more action. And let's not forget the emotional action it takes, day by day, to cope, remain present, and to continue to parent with the best of your ability. You are hope and action, each of you, today, and every day. Now, I know from counseling many parents of children with rare disease that this hope and action doesn't always feel that way. There are days that feel hopeless, very heavy, and the action is replaced with dormancy. Give yourselves grace when this happens. Know that it is not possible to be full of hope or active all the time. We talked about that on the panel too. I asked Julie, how do you get out of those days, and we talked about having permission to have a bad day. Maybe you've heard that parenting a child with a rare disease is not a sprint, but a marathon. However, at the time of diagnosis, it seems like a sprint. Appointment after appointment being made, researching the condition, information gathering and overload. Who should we meet with? Who should we tell? What type of programming is needed? But once the initial shock dissipates and the grief becomes less acute, the sprint may liken more to a marathon. The hurry up begins to slow down. You see, a marathon is long with mile after mile of adjustments. As in running a marathon, you will need to refuel, not with a power bar, but with a walk or a coffee with a friend. You may not need the medical tent, but perhaps a counseling session with a trained provider along the way. You may stop at a certain point, not to stretch out the cramp, but to regroup, catch your breath, reset. There will be easier miles as well as uphill climbs. This journey at times is exhaustive, and you may question whether or not you can do it. It is okay that you need to stop, to refuel, to stretch out, to climb and question your ability. When you find yourself easing into a stride, celebrate the win. Celebrate any accomplishment that you make along the way for you or your child. As in a marathon, you are not running alone. Look around this room, right now. Look around this room. See the other runners? They have your back, and you have theirs. Marathon runners share helpful information about the best sneakers, training routines, etc. Parents of children with rare conditions also share a wealth of information, a wealth of knowledge, whether it's about SMOs, wheelchair ramps, or a favorite tactile toy. Once you know that this journey is not a sprint, but a marathon with heavy breathing, tears, successful miles, and fellow runners, you can find your pace, you can adjust, you can acclimate. Runners like to look back and see how far they've come. Look back now, right now. Look back to before the diagnosis, when you perhaps knew something was not right. Look back now to receiving the diagnosis, that initial shock, the grief, the denial. See how far you've come today to this meeting, how brave you are in your parenting, even though you may not always feel that way. What is the finish line in your marathon? Perhaps there's no laurel wreath or medal hanging around your neck, but the light in your child's eyes, or the smile as they recognize you and the love that you give. You are hope in action, today and every day, as you travel the miles with your child along this course.